Ever wondered how to deal with the living dead? The undead can be a lively bunch, so you should definitely stay tuned to watch the Movie Spotlight picks for the best zombie movies. Here is the countdown for our favorite infectious zombie movies. We have scoured around some of the top zombie homage films of the undead walking corpse zombie movies of all time. As we review our picks for the best top 10 zombie movies, we are looking for zombies who stand out from the herd and remind us that you don't need to have a pulse to have an interesting personality. Be sure to stay tuned to see the best zombie movie of all time at the end. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give this video the thumbs up if you like zombie movies.
Do not think.
In this rom-com movie,
We're their food source.
Warm Bodies tells the story with a twist through the eyes of zombie R, an undead played by Nicholas Hoult, who encounters a human Julie played by Teresa Palmer. It shares an unconventional romantic story of a humanized zombie R who still has a conscience, befriends Julie, and falls in love with her as a vegan zombie. Things get complicated as it turns out that her father is the leader of the human resistance. It shows how a zombie journey to relearn how to become more human and can even talk and think.
I'm lost.
This sets off a chain of events where a lifeless world is turned upside down as other zombies start to come to life and are a little less dead.
If you say. Say something human. Nailed it.
The day after tomorrow, cold.
Suddenly, overnight, the world came to a halt. This movie is reputed to be a combination of the movies World War Z, I Am Legend, and The Day After Tomorrow. In Extinction, in this peaceful snow-covered town of Harmony, Extinction is set in a post-zombie apocalypse era 9 years after the infection. Most of humanity has been turned into a rabid undead creatures and have frozen. In this survival zombie flick, Patrick, Jack and Lou, a 9-year-old girl played by Matthew Fox, Jeremy Donovan and Quinn McColgan all survive in this forgotten town where the infected have adapted and evolved into the deep freeze. So no one is safe any longer. Hopefully this isn't where you go after you die on the Lost TV series. You can't have a country without people, and no, zombies don't count. This is the United States of Zombieland, as the zombies have taken over America in Zombieland. In the Zombieland and its sequel Zombieland Double Tap, there is great action, good laughs, and plenty of zombie-related gore. Zombieland with an A-list cast starring Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Emma Stone, and Abigail Breslin. It follows the story of survivor college students by following strange rules such as checking the back seat, double tapping, and avoiding public restrooms, who band together with a pair of sisters, one of whom has been bitten by a zombie in search for the last ever Twinkie on Earth at an amusement park. Double Tap takes place after the original, where the resilient quartet of survivors find themselves in the now derelict White House. In this rabid world still overrun by the walking dead and the mutated strains of evolved, smarter animated corpse zombies, all hope rests on Babylon, an entire organic community of blissful vegetarian pacifists who love to party. In Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is a zombie movie with a difference, set in the early 19th century when England is besieged by zombies. This movie is a Jane Austen tale of tangled relationships between lovers and different social classes. The 5 Bennett sisters have been trained in the art of weaponry and martial arts in China at their father's behest.
I've been training for this my whole life.
They protect themselves from a growing population of zombies and band together as an army of undead zombies are hunting for human flesh. all whilst their mother wants them married off to wealthy suitors. A classic line in the film where it is said, "A woman must have mastered the art of singing, dancing, and the art of war of youth."
My daughters were trained for battle.
Zombie killing. In response, they state, "I will never relinquish my sword for a man."
I shall never relinquish my sword for a ring.
This interesting mashup, which is true to the Jane Austen novel fans as well as anyone with a love for the zombie genre. This zombie-infested romantic horror comedy, Shaun of the Dead, shares a story about Shaun and Ed, who wake up with a massive hangover and find the world has been overrun by the undead. The movie stars Simon Pegg, Kate Ashfield, Lucy Davis, and Nick Frost. Shaun plans to win back his ex-girlfriend's love while surviving the apocalypse with his best friend Ed, holed up in their favourite pub to ride out the end of the world and hopefully not die one by one. One of the most iconic moments is when Shaun walks into a shop in the post-apocalyptic environment, hungover when he is totally oblivious to the undead. Unfortunate when a zombified version of John, barman, emerges from Winchester. Shaun, Liz and Ed take pool cues and start whacking him whilst on cue, Queen's Don't Stop Me Now plays in the background. Interestingly, the movie also features celebrity cameos from Trisha Goddard and Chris Martin as themselves in the film. The original Resident Evil movie is based on the popular video game, and there are, as of the making of this video, 6 movies in the franchise. There is rumoured to be a reboot coming out later this year. It is about the laboratory accident inside the Umbrella Corporation at a secret facility called The Hive, which has mutated hundreds of scientists into flesh-eating, hungry zombie creatures and an out-of-control supercomputer, and releases the mutated lab animals as an elite military unit goes in to try to stop the virus escaping, where they meet Alice, who is suffering from amnesia from exposure to nerve gas. Set in London in 28 days later, the zombies have wiped out the city due to a virus that causes people to suddenly acquire the taste for the living. Be careful, the undead can run. The protagonist, Jim, wakes up from a coma a month post the zombies' arrival in an abandoned hospital and is baffled to find the streets of London empty. He has a rude awakening after learning what has happened to everyone. What makes this movie extra exciting is that the infected undead zombies can in fact run as they instantly turn, making it even more menacing. 28 weeks later follows a similar post-apocalyptic storyline 4 weeks after 28 days later. A horrific, unstoppable rage virus has decimated the entire city of London. The US Army has restored order and is repopulating a quarantine city. The first wave of returning survivors, an unsuspecting carrier of the highly transmittable pathogen, enters the dead city and reignites the spread of the deadly infection. The virus is not yet dead and is more dangerous.
Execute Code
The
Red.
military lacks humanism and uses deadly force to annihilate everyone after losing control. Will the nightmare begin again? Expect some extra gore in the sequel. In the I Am Legend movie, Will Smith plays Dr. Robert Neville, a scientist who for a long time believes himself to be the last man on Earth. The plague has killed most of humanity and has been transformed into monsters. With his faithful dog as companion, Neville finds out that he is immune for some unknown reason and spends years trying to find a cure with his own blood and sends out daily radio messages desperate to find other survivors. But Neville finds out that he is not alone, as mutant victims of the plague, the infected, are lurking in the shadows. This action-packed, thrilling spectacle, Train to Busan, is a South Korean gem about a group of people on a train ride to Busan, the only safe haven left. or they hope, as civilization is crumbling due to a zombie apocalypse. It zooms in on a story of a businessman taking his daughter cross-country on a train to stay with her mother. The movie shows how terrifying it would be as the zombie plague works its way slowly across the country, facing a rapid spread of the zombie plague that he has unwittingly helped to create. Be scared, these hordes of zombies can sprint and fast. Ravenous as they are, these undead are flocking towards the living flesh en masse. Before we reveal the #1 best zombie movie, be sure to subscribe for more and hit the bell notification and give us a thumbs up. One of the greatest zombie movies ever made to date is World War Z. This exciting, action-packed zombie movie reveals what the end of humanity would look like. The world is suddenly plagued by a mysterious infection, turning whole human populations into rampaging, mindless zombies. It follows the story of Jerry Lane, played by Brad Pitt, who works for the UN and traverses the world in a race against time to stop the zombie pandemic that is toppling armies and governments and threatening to decimate humanity itself. One of the best scenes is where Lane is on a plane and unbeknownst to the passengers on board, the infected had boarded the plane. The portrayal of zombies working together to climb a wall to contain the zombie population and chaos erupting with the fast-paced spread of the lethal virus through a single bite, turning healthy people into something vicious, unthinking and feral, makes this my favorite zombie movie. Which is your favorite zombie movie? Which did we miss? Tell us in the comments, and if you like this video, check out our latest top movie video linked here.